Hi, this is Robert Clinky-Beard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders and business owners to provide you with some value to scale your business and to become a better leader and push yourself out of your comfort zone. We encourage you to like and share with everyone to spread our messages. I'm super excited to announce our new partnership with Weathermatic. For most landscape companies, irrigation is an untapped gold mine for growth and profit, but labor and process problems stand in the way. So Weathermatic has created a partnership to package mobile technology and software with proven business solutions to tackle the perennial irrigation challenges and take your operations to a whole new level. I encourage you to reach out to Weathermatic and learn more. Cheers, everyone. Hi, this is Robert Clinky-Beard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. I'm really excited to be joined by Frank Mariani. I've been trying, Frank, to get you on the show now for, maybe a year. I finally managed to corner you down in Miami. Glad you're on, Frank. So welcome to the show.
Well, Robert, I always enjoy seeing you, talking business, talking industry. And as you know, your fearless leader, Bruce Wilson, is one of my dearest friends and somebody that I have the utmost respect for. And what you and Joe and everybody else has done now is really exciting to see the next phase. So thanks for including me.
No problem. Thank you, Frank. So a little bit about your background. You became the president of Mariani Landscape at 19 years old.
Yes.
And
that was believe it or not, 50 years ago this November, my dad passed.
Wow. Well, I'm really sorry to hear about your dad.
Well, he was a wonderful man. And, thanks to all the associates at Mariani and all my friends in the green industry, I know he'd be pretty darn happy right now. And I'm quite confident that he's been on my shoulder every single day since that unfortunate time that he passed. So it's very personal, but this industry is very personal, so it goes hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's thinking back of your dad? I mean, what was probably the biggest thing that goes you through your head when you're operating your business and dealing with all these people?
I think the most important thing, and the reason, quite frankly, I'm still doing this now, 50 years. He said, Frank, it's all relationships. What do you mean, Dad? He said, it's a relationship with all the associates at Mariani that work for us and with us. It's all relationships with our clients. And the other thing is, which is amazing, is other people, competitors will help you in this industry. And I've never seen that happen in other industries. So it's relationship. I tell you, my dad passed from leukemia, and so we knew he was going to go. And so we never talked about that. He always talked about the future. And he said, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, obviously I'm not going to college. I need to run the company. I'll take some night classes. And he said, okay, what are you going to study? I said, well, I'll do some business courses, horticulture, some design. And I'll never forget. He said, why don't you take psychology too? And I said, what? He said, trust me. He said, dealing with people, it's an art, and it's something that you can always benefit from learning more and more. And he was right. Now, this is a guy who came to this country in 1954 and, with the 6th grade education, but he was a voracious reader, read anything and everything he possibly could. He was extremely, extremely proud of being an American. Didn't speak Italian at home because in those days you were an American and you were proud to be an American. And he really embraced that and became a big member of the community. So I think the thing that he impressed upon me is it's all about the people, dummy. It's all about the people, and whether that's what we call our employees, whether it's clients or whether it's other people in other trades or in our trade. Treat them with respect and they'll treat you with respect. And you know what? 99% of the people out there are really good. And, don't worry about the 1% that's not.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Well, your dad must be very proud of you,
Well,
looking down on you. So,
yeah, I appreciate
congratulations,
that.
Frank. So you could have easily sat back, you built your company to, 800 employees, basically one of the leading companies across the nation. But, you've now decided to wrap things up and you've now become, created the country's first national premium residential landscape platform. I mean, that's tremendous. I mean, how did this come into your head?
Well, Robert, I am somewhat stubborn, and when when different brokers told me 25, 30, 35 years ago that they those days it was doing maybe $10 million or something like that, and they calling me up and buttering me up and all that, and I had no interest in selling. And then when I mentioned residential, phone calls stopped. And they said, well, there'll never be a roll up of residential. I said, first of all, I don't believe in roll ups. I believe in consolidation, making things better. So you lost me right there. And then I said, well, why won't there be a consolidation? They said, well, it's not scalable. I said, oh, that's interesting. Because when Dad died, by the way, he was a hell of a lot smarter than me. He did $90,000. I've got his return, and he declared 30.
Okay.
I've never been able to match. In fact, he could teach one of your programs. I never matched his profitability, but by the time we actually sold in 12/31 of 20, we were the largest residential company doing 59 million. 90,000, 59 million, but you can't scale. And by the way, Mariani, there's a lot of companies out there. Our partners, same story, a tremendous amount of growth. So, I think it's one of those things, you think about different businesses or you even think about families. This is the way we've always done it. So this is the way we're going to do it. Well, guess what? That doesn't work for me. When I put I'll tell you one other quick story. Richard Sperber and the current president at that time of Valley Crest came to see me because Bert asked Richard to come and tell me that they were coming to Illinois, because Bert and I were, friends. I mean, I adored the guy. He was a legend. And so I said to Richard, I said, why would your dad tell me? We don't do commercial. I mean, we do 5%. He said, no, we're going to do residential. So I thought I was really a genius. And I said, well, who's moving here? Because what do you mean? I said, are you moving to Chicago, or is your dad? Because what are you talking about? I said, you're going to compete against me when I go and see our clients. They know Frank Mariani's coming, and I'm going to take care of them. I'm part of the community. I never ask them for the business, but I serve on a charitable board with them. I do a civic board with them. I go to the same church. I eat in the same restaurants. And the next day, Bert called me, said, you know what? I never wanted to do residential in Illinois anyway. We're not doing it. Thank you very much. So I got up and I told everybody that would listen that I'm a genius. And I just got rid of the competition. And then I sat down, I go, oh my God, do I really believe what I just said? And I did. And I said, well, guess what then? If Frank Mariani or John Mariani or somebody else with the Mariani name doesn't go and sell work, that means we can't grow. The next day, I got credit cards for all our salespeople. And I told them, I said, take them to Starbucks, take them to breakfast, take them to lunch, take them for dinner, take them to the Cubs game, take them to the Bears game, take them golfing. Don't ever give anybody $1 or you're fired the next day. But wine and dine them and do what other business people do to create opportunities, to build relationships. By the way, serve on a charitable, contribute to your church, to your school. Do it, and it's on Mariani. And become a part of that community where you're not looked upon as a landscaper. You're looked upon as an equal. you're looked upon as somebody who cares about the community, because you do. And it changed the whole way we went about selling, and what a relief. It wasn't me anymore, and there was no reason why we couldn't scale up. Quite frankly, our clients, they call our associates, they don't call Frank Mariani, because they know that that associate is operating as a Mariani and has complete power to do whatever's necessary to make that client happy.
No,
So
I love
it
that.
was a good experience, and it was all driven because, quote unquote, it started with you couldn't grow this business, and it ended up with, well, yeah, you sure can grow this business. And by the way, you can reward people. I'm sure you experience this as you're advising people, because you do a great job with that. But some owners are afraid to give their team members the power to make decisions. And Robert, we have a quarter of a century club at Mariani, just Midwest. It's closing in on 50 individuals that have been with the company over 25 years, many of them over 40.
Wow.
That does not happen by accident.
That's true.
The other thing is that I always get asked, well, how did you go from 90,000 to 59 million? Never set out to go to 59 million. I never wanted to have more trucks than anybody else or more people than anybody else. What I always tried to do is, number one, to be better than the competition, better design, better sustainable practices, better horticulture. I wanted to be the best, and I still want to be the best, and I still believe that we have a long way to go. And when I don't believe that, I quit, because I always think you can get better. But the other thing is, the only reason we grew is I didn't know how to keep individuals at Mariani without offering them another opportunity to climb the ladder. And that's why people don't leave, because first of all, they see what ownership goes through. But second of all, they understand they have the opportunity to climb the ladder as high as they want to go, come up with new ideas, come up with new areas where we can add these adjacency types of services and products. And you grow. So that's my story. And, it's what keeps me engaged.
I was going to say, do you feel as though your creative juices have now exploded because you've got this new venture on your hand? And
I got to tell you, I believe that what we're doing is different than the majority of our competitors, be it if they're commercial or if they're residential. There are some residential platforms now. I think we have something that's different than everybody else, in that, yes, we have private equity money behind us, but we operate just like we operated before we make the only thing that happens when we buy a company, the next day, greater chance that their associates have a better insurance program, have better perks, have better benefits, and absolutely have an opportunity to grow, either where they're at or at one of our other fellow companies. And that's pretty special. And as much, look, drives me nuts when sometimes I've had people come in and say, we've changed. I said, yeah, I know. I mean, we've got a new office. We're buying new equipment. We've got newer people that are bringing different types of knowledge that we never had before. You're damn right we're changing. I mean, if you don't change, you die. Mm-hmm. So we always want to change, and we're going to continue to change. But as much as, things have changed, I think if you called any of the companies that we bought, they would tell you they've been shocked about how little the basic culture has changed at their particular companies. Because I got to tell you, Robert, I've been very, very selective in who we're bringing in the fold. I've had companies that have a hell of a lot more revenue and fabulous profit that we just said no, simply because their culture, in my opinion, was cancerous.
Yeah,
And
tell me about that, Frank. I mean, you obviously have a certain list of criteria of companies you go after because you're right. Culture is probably the biggest thing within companies. When you talk about failed mergers or acquisitions, a lot of the time it's down to trying to mesh those two cultures together. So talk to me a little bit more about that criteria.
well, number one, where do we want to be? We want to be in areas throughout the country, maybe possibly the world, where there's the wealth needed to create outstanding landscapes. What's amazing is I travel this country. I never realized the amount of wealth out there. I mean, this country is amazing. And when I talk about wealth, I'm not talking about it from a greedy standpoint. I'm talking about it from the standpoint, I want to have our companies, they have the opportunity to create outstanding landscapes. By the way, there are some $5,000 outstanding landscapes, and there are some $5 million outstanding landscapes. So don't get fooled by the dollar amount. What I care about is that is the appropriate landscape for that client, for the environment, for the world at that particular time and point. So what's amazing to me is every state in the union pretty much has that opportunity. And it's getting bigger opportunity after bigger opportunity year after year as people migrate out of maybe some of the areas that were typically old money. While those areas still remain in play, there's more opportunity in areas that never were considered that affluent. So that's exciting to me. The other thing is I love maintenance. As a matter of fact, I think sometimes, we were known in the past in Chicago to take some pretty bad design that other people designed and installed. And then you can get Mariani to come in later and fix it. And we'll save all that money because we didn't pay Mariani at the beginning, but they end up paying at the end. And I'm equal opportunity. I'll take it either way. But I guess that, we look for a company, we prefer a company that has that reoccurring revenue. And I think that's the commercial model too. But then again, some of our partners have proved even either design build or bid build, it's pretty much reoccurring revenue because year after year after year, through 9/11, through recessions, through COVID, they did outstanding. So, what's nice about what we did at Mariani is we wrote a script of building the best residential landscape company in the world. But the beauty of writing a script is if you're the poet, if you're the author, you get to rip a page out because you learned something and put a new page in. So right now, what we learned is, do we like reoccurring revenue? Absolutely. Do we like a company that does bid build and is shown that their area is pretty recession proof? Absolutely. Same thing for design build. At Mariani, Illinois, we're really a landscape architecture company. We're a landscape construction company. We're a landscape maintenance company. We do all three disciplines. You can pick and choose. Chances are, if we do a great job of landscape architecture, which is a profit center and a standalone business, basically within the family of business, they use us for everything else. So it's a win-win-win. But again, the economy has been pretty darn good the last few years. That might change. And again, we reserve the right to shift gears. Now, what's as important as the area that we're seeking to be in, as important as the mix of business, as long as it's high-end residential focused, and every company probably has a little commercial, has a little of this, a little of that's okay. But as long as it's high-end focused, then what's the most important thing? It's going there, meeting with the team, and finding out, do they like being at their place? And if they do, why? And if they don't, why? And would they like teaming up with like-minded people who want to continue to raise the bar each and every day. And if they truly want that opportunity, then we want them,
Awesome.
And by the way, everybody, starting with yours truly, we have blemishes, there's things that we could be doing better. I like that opportunity. I also, something that's important to me is that you have the curiosity to learn something new, and you have the guts to understand that you're going to make mistakes, and God knows I've made them. If I've done one thing to change as I've gotten older, is I'm a little slower to pull the trigger on things, where before, I had 50 things going at the same time. Can't do that. The other thing that I learned is that if you're going to move into a new segment of the green industry business, or something that's closely associated with green industry, that you really have a champion to lead that effort, versus you take your best person who's doing a great job with snow and say, hey, by the way, why don't you take on the greenhouses too? Or you're doing a great job with sales and maintenance, and you tell them, why don't you take this? Why don't you take that? Yeah. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Better to have a champion, better to create a business plan and have the funds and the people to actually give this opportunity the best chance of success.
No, I love that. The world. Where else are you going in the world? London, Dubai?
God knows. We've had some interest in some of the Caribbean, islands and things like that.
Okay.
Quite frankly, we haven't scratched the surface in the States.
Yeah.
But never say no. It's exciting. The other thing, what's kind of cool right now is, for our associates, somebody gets transferred from Chicago to Denver, the spouse or significant other or whatever the case may be. They've got an opportunity to apply for a job, and chances are they're going to get hired for that job at one of our fellow, companies, sister companies. That's really exciting to me. Plus, somebody may decide, I'd rather not be in Chicago in winter. I'd rather be skiing. Well, guess what? You got Denver. I'd rather be swimming. Well, you can go down to Florida. You can go to Texas. You can, we're going to be in all these areas. Or you really like to eat and you like the culture that's in Illinois, come to Chicago. Chicago, even with everything that's happening, is still one of the most incredible cities in the whole world.
Yeah.
And we're going to fix this problem, together. Unfortunately, the big city problems are nationwide, and I don't shy away from problems. I try to help fix them. So, and I think our company's doing that too.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of the things when I got bought, we picked a company that thought was going to give our team opportunities all around the country. And there was some resistance to allowing those opportunities to open up. So I'm really glad to hear that you're now opening up these opportunities for all your team members nationwide. Yes. To be able to move around companies. I think that's awesome.
Well, one other thing that's important, and I think I mentioned it when we were together recently, is that, I'm very proud of the fact that I was in Young Presidents Organization, YPO.
Yep.
And they have these forum groups. And I don't know, 25 years ago, I was with Jim McCutcheon and the Bland family and other people down in Charlotte. I'm probably screwing up when, where, whatever, but we were together. It was an ELCA event. But I said, we should do these forum groups. And that's where we came up with the idea with peer groups. And, I'm still a big fan of our peer groups stay, if they're companies that have, I want them to stay. Because I think that's invaluable, what you all bring to the table, and it'll bring other opportunities. So I just think it's good, and the more sharing that all of us can do, as our businesses have always been open door policy. Come on in and learn whatever you can get. If you get better, even if it's a competitor down the street, if you get better, it's going to make us better. I always like to equate it to Michael Phelps. You know what I mean? I believe he touched the wall first because he could look right, he could look left, he saw where the competition was, and he touched the wall first. That's what I want to do. I want to touch the wall first. But, that swimmer that's coming up on us, it's going to make us swim faster. And what's wrong with that? And if you can't do it, then maybe it's time to do something different.
Yeah, keeps you stay ahead of the competition.
Yep.
Couple more questions here, Frank. What surprises have you come across as you've, acquired these other companies? Something that maybe you were, unexpected to you.
I think that a couple things for people that are thinking about possibly selling their company. I tell them straight out, I said, you're not going to believe this, but I'm going to try and get you as much money as you possibly can get for your company. And the reason I'm doing that is because the day after we close, you're my partner. And I want you to be extremely happy. Number two, how soon can I talk to as many people as possible in your organization? And they said, well, why? And I said, because I'd like them to have a say in if you should sell your company to us or not. And they look at me, they go, what? I said, if you care about them, they should have a say. They should have the opportunity to say, well, I don't like Frank Mariani. I don't like what he's doing. It's not my cup of tea. Or hopefully they say, you know what? This guy is for real and what they're building is incredible. And I want you to sell and be a part of that. And to be honest with you, every single company but one did that. And the one that didn't do that was probably the least successful in making the change.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you learn. Now they're fine, but it could have been better if they were. But then again, how many companies do you deal with? The owner doesn't share anything, and I think it's nuts, because by the way, it's like a marriage, right? When you don't say something, you're thinking the wife is thinking worse things than she actually is, and vice versa. And if you just got it up, they go, oh, that wasn't hard. That was easy, and it's, so I think that's something that's really important. And the more time that you can spend with everybody, the more you can really understand what's driving them. I tell people straight out, if you truly care about your associates, quite frankly, you have one choice when it comes to residential, us, because we have the capability and we have the drive and we have the business plan to have the best benefits, to have the best incentives, to have the best training, to be in the best areas, to do the best work. And I have a feeling that most of you are successful because you believe in those same, goals, and you have the same aspirations. So I don't know of another company that's like ours. So that's what we're trying to do.
No, I agree with my old company. We had some of the best years when we were transparent with our team. We shared everything. We worked together as a team. And just with that transparency, I think it just helped build that trust in companies.
One of the biggest challenges that we have is, now communicating. I mean, we've spent a tremendous amount of money. We have somebody leading up our, technology. We have somebody, running legal. We have somebody running HR, every single segment. And one of the things we've tried to do, which was kind of interesting, with peer groups, and nobody knows this better than you and your team, but you always have a couple of leaders amongst those groups who really come prepared, do their homework, leave and initiate what they said they were going to initiate, and they come back to the next meeting even better. Then you've always got 30% who are great people, but they're not capable. They leave and they don't share anything. They go right back to doing things the way they always did them. They come back to the next meeting in the exact same place they left the last meeting, and they don't initiate anything. That to me is extremely frustrating. You know, what we try to do now is not only have our companies still participate in peer groups, but start basically mini peer groups within our company so that fleet and facility can call anybody else in fleet and facility. Somebody who's purchasing plant material can call somebody else.
That's
purchase.
Great. I love that.
So you go right down the list. You know, first of all, you know, I'd come back from peer group meeting with about 70 great ideas. One thing I did learn is to shrink that down to 3.
Yeah, I agree.
But guess what? Each one of those disciplines within our organization could get 3 of those items to do. So, you know, I think the opportunity for companies like yours is to try to develop those mini subgroups within the peer groups themselves. Because again, the good leaders would do that on their own, but that 30% will drag everybody down. So you have to go around them and work opportunity. And I think it's an opportunity for you to build,
I agree.
and others to build their peer group. You know, because I know you never were worried about Mariani buying companies and losing clients. There are other competitors that you have that see us as the risk. Guess what? Frank Mariani's one person. There are 47 big platforms in the commercial market right now. They're not going away. And now that we've shown you can do this in residential, there'll be more in residential. They're not going away. And so you either embrace that and figure out how you can grow your own business, or you die.
Yeah, that's so true. No, well, thank you for that, Frank. Final question. I know time is running out here. What's your advice to some of the new or up and coming companies? You started off, or you built your company in a certain market, in a certain way of doing business, but obviously things have changed a lot over the years. What's your best advice for these small up and coming or new companies in the marketplace?
I got to tell you, I think that's an easy question. And number one, they should belong to their state organization, if there is such an animal, Green Industry Organization. Number 2, they should belong to NALP. Number 3, they should embrace someone like you and your teammates and take advantage of this peer group. And they should do their homework and pick the right company to connect with. They should interview more than one and pick the right choice, and ask for a list of companies that have used your services and your competitors' services, and see which one drives the most value and matches their needs to the. But I can't tell you, I would never be where I'm at right now without Illinois Landscape Contractors Association, without ELCA, without Planet, without NALP, without Bruce Wilson, without Marty Grunder, without, Jeffrey Scott. I mean, all these things have made Mariani what Mariani is. And people are willing to share. You know, we have an open book over here at Mariani. He drives my team crazy. But every single time somebody, we had a company here this morning from Chattanooga. They didn't ask me. They just came. They wanted to learn a little bit more about automowers. My team does it. And guess what? They walk out of the room with their chest sticking out a little bit more, because they're proud about the fact that people come to us as the leaders to help show them the best way they can, the best way they can run their company and how they can improve. By the way, I'll never forget one time I was in Missouri, and it was pretty upsetting to me because, the only thing I saw were Baptist church. I didn't see one tavern. So it cramped my style a little bit. But I met with this little company. They were doing $300,000 a year. I got more from them than they give a husband-wife team. I got more from them than I think they got from me. Just the way they went about doing their business and the things that were important to them. And so, You know, and by the way, I've been to seminars with different consultants and like that. And somebody said, "What'd you learn?" I said, "Well, one thing I did learn is I took that person out of my Rolodex. I'm never going, I got nothing." But 99% of the time, I always walk away with something. I had a great time and a list of great ideas that I simmered down on the plane leaving Miami, you know, for your event. It was fantastic. So, you know, if again, if you have the curiosity and you have the willingness to learn and to expand your capacity to do business, you'll be fine.
No, I agree 100%. I think, you know, you said it earlier that the fact that our industry is so giving with advice, and then surrounding yourself with the right people, whether it be consultants, whether it be peer groups, you surround yourself with the right people. And that might change as you grow your business. You know, the person getting you to 5 million might be different from somebody getting you to 20 million, but make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. So that's a tremendous advice. So Frank, I really do appreciate your time today. You've been
my pleasure.
Amazing, very inspiring. I wish you all the best with your continued journey of world domination.
Hopefully I'm going to see everybody at Elevate.
Yes, we'll be there. The whole team will be there. So
looking forward to it.
Okay, take care, Frank.
Thank you, Robert. Thanks for including me.
Yeah, take care. Thank you very much.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hopefully that was pure dead brilliant to you and you got some great takeaways for your business or your leadership role. This is Robert Clinkenbeard and I'd love to get you and your friends to join us in a future journey. So please subscribe to the various podcast channels or visit thecommerciallandscaper.com or wilson360.com. Big thank you again to our partner Weathermatic, and I really encourage you to reach out to them and see about irrigation solutions or partnership with them. Hopefully you have a pure dead brilliant day. Cheers everyone.